Okay. Rafah red lines crossed again. Tanks rolling in. What will the Brandon regime do? Former ICC prosecutor threatened by Mossad. UCLA UAW strike. And later I play pacifist King Hank Pecker on Rust with many exclusive drops. Get in now. Twitch.tv/Hasanabi. Do we have a... Did you see everyone performative posting about Rafah on IG? Great. That's great. Why would I have an issue with that? Do we have a blast off meme or what? Why would I take issue with that? Why would I...
You're not from...
What is this? I just... God damn it. Fucking more drama. Fuck you. Okay. Here's a blast off. Stop sending me the dog fart. Oh God, it's gonna be the new poop sock. I hate it. Some people on your subreddit were tweeting about it. Dude, my subreddit is a mind of its own. Okay. Arizan, I'm not gonna fucking post the new president of Iran as a dog. Okay, that's insane. Stop Azerbaijan posting in the chat for a second. Okay, like that's crazy that you keep sending me that. Typical fucking Ozzy in the chat. Yeah, dude, let me post a fucking meme of like the new president of Iran being a dog. I'm sure that would be totally allowed and appropriate. The white girls from everyone's high school experience are now talking about Palestine. It's good to see. It's good to see, if not a touch annoying. I told you so. Okay, everybody calm down, okay? I'm the guy who tells you so. And I'm telling you so right now as the fucking first and foremost authority on I told you so. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. That's crazy to me that people think like, oh shit, dude, like people are fucking pro-Palestine because it's fashionable now. Like, no, that means it's good. It means it's like discourse is changing dramatically. Stop gatekeeping because you were pro-Palestine before others. Yeah, I don't get it. Everyone needs to calm the fuck down. Okay? Like, what are we doing here? Are we for real? Be for fucking real, you know? It's not a bad it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Oh fuck. We don't have a single goddamn meme in here, right? That's crazy. We've lost it. This community, we used to be a community. We used to have a sense of purpose. We used to... Okay, you know what? I'm going to use this fucking dumbass meme that you sent me. Elzer Curtato. Here it is. Rafah red lines crossed again. Tanks rolling in. What will the Brandon regime do? Former IC prosecutor threatened by Mossad, UCLA UAW strike, and later I play pacifist King Hank Pecker on Rust with many exclusive drops. Get in now. You were late. Chat can be too. Yeah, I was late, which means you should be able to... What is this? The reason why women are problematic is because they're usually on the wrong side. When they're on the correct side, man, the establishment will shake. Yeah, bro, listen. I don't give a fuck if people are if people are now posting about Rafah. Okay, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's insane. From where I'm standing, dude, that's not a thing. Okay, that has never been a thing. That's wild. And no, this ain't like BLM either. Okay, because there's no real way to like co-opt the pro-Palestinian message. You understand? Whereas you can co-opt BLM and pacify it, turn it into a commodity. You know what I mean? Whereas you can't really do that for Palestinian humanity because it's a fucking genocide. So what are they going to do? Are they going to be like, yeah, we actually do see, we stand with Palestine? Well, still, we're going to lob bombs there? Like, there's a tangible goal here, which is to stop Israel from fucking ethnically cleansing Palestinians, right? Every time you pull up a German politics, you say they obviously going to respect ICC judgment. As a German listening to German media, I wouldn't be so sure about that. Many conservatives saying they shouldn't arrest a democratically elected leader, even with an arrest warrant. Yeah, of course Germans are going to say, let's not elect the democratically elected leader, even with an arrest warrant. Adolf Hitler! It's literally an order of who can get arrested. White women are the last influence. Matters a lot. There's a fuck ton historical precedent to this. Yeah. What? This lady is informing us that all restaurants are closed due to the Biden Inflation Act. Anyway, all right, let's get started. Bigger premium spent on killing Palestinians dead than keeping them alive. I mean, that take ignores the existence of opportunists. People like Jackson Hinkle will always have a way of leashing off genuine movements. Yes, that is true. But we're not talking about Jackson Hinkle. We're talking about Stacy from high school. Okay? Stacy from high school is not like a fucking hostile entity. You understand? Stacy from high school cares about Starbucks coffee and like having a, I don't know, having like a different multiple Stanley Cups. Okay? When Stacy starts fucking posting about Palestine, starts posting about Rafah, okay? You know shit is fucked up. You understand? Like, that's not what I'm talking about in particular. I'm not talking about like the opportunists. I'm talking about like random people that are like hearing about this shit and going, God damn, this is like pretty fucked up. And also, now I feel like I'm comfortable posting about this because it's fashionable. It means that you are successful. It means that your voice is being heard. Your voice is not only being heard by those in positions of power, but your voice is being heard by Becky. Okay? Your voice is being heard by the Stacys, the Karens, the Beckys, white women. Okay? That's huge, bro. That means that like we're reaching fucking peak velocity. We're reaching terminal velocity. Remember, for me personally, like I've been doing this shit for quite some time, not just for Palestine, but like in general, even for police brutality and Black Lives Matter. So I remember a time when I got shit on nonstop for being pro BLM by liberals too. Now, obviously, BLM is a domestic issue, and there are mechanisms to co-opt that domestic issue from those in positions of power that are much, much better, right? Like they can just like neuter BLM and just kind of cast it aside and go back to business as usual. But like the situation in Palestine, the situation in Gaza is so bad that any kind of awareness is good. That's what Palestinians want. If you listen to Palestinians for years and years and years, the first thing that they've always said, bro, Palestinians in the beginning, like in the early October, were literally saying, don't even raise money for charities. Just bring awareness. The reason why they were saying that, I remember, and I still raised money anyway, because, you know, obviously I knew what was going to happen. But the reason why they were saying that is because like awareness is, that's how bad the situation is. That they're like, people don't even recognize their humanity. 8 months later, in the throes of ethnic cleansing, think about where we're at with discourse. Think about where this community's at with discourse. This community, in and of itself, had a massive rift after October 7th. So many people left. So many people were like, you're a fucking terrorist. You're an Islamist fundamentalist. All this shit. And look at it now. A lot of people are quietly trickling back in. Still an 18K Andy, though? Dude, I'm literally 32 minutes into the broadcast. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Take a week off, dumb fuck. Such a weird thing to say. Yeah, you got fucking Piers Morgan flipping, dude. Now, I don't know how consistent or how real that loyalty is from the likes of Piers Morgan and many others, or maybe even Stacey, but ultimately it spells trouble for those in positions of power. Okay? It's just another vector of pressure. Nikki Haley and Israel scribbling, finish them on the shells that the IDF is about to fire into Rafah in defiance of the International Court of Justice. Biden provided the shells. Republicans autographed them. The U.S. political class is united in its complicity with this genocide. That is a perfect representation, a perfect demonstration of the monstrous nature of the American imperialist agenda. Okay? That's it. Biden sends the shells. Nikki Haley fucking signs it off, gives a little kissy poo on it. Palestinians perish on the receiving end. Freaks. Yeah, John Kirby got grilled by the red line, by the way. There is obviously a threshold to how much the Biden administration could be quiet about the red lines that they claimed that they never really enforced. And now, obviously, the press is going to start pressuring. But before we do that, let's give you an update on Rafah. Netanyahu acknowledged Rafah as a tragic incident, only to continue doing the same thing. Two medical personnel, staffers were killed outside the Kuwait hospital last night. 16 other people were murdered in a similar strike. I believe like 60 plus bombings have occurred since the ICC decision, since the ICJ ceasefire demand. They have not stopped at all. They are going full throttle. And now we have tanks rolling in. And the red lines are ever changing. Where the fuck are the red lines? There are none.
This morning, new fallout after that deadly Israeli strike in Rafah over the weekend. An Israeli official tells NBC News it appears that an IDF bomb ignited a gas tank at the tent camp, sending flames ripping through the site as displaced families slept in shelters made of wood and plastic. At least 45 people were killed, according to the emergency services in Hamas-run Gaza. Many of them women and children. Hundreds more wounded. These three brothers lost their only sister. They say she was 7 months pregnant. The IDF said the strike killed 2 senior Hamas commanders. But amid international criticism, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calling it a tragic incident and promising an investigation. Though giving no sign he'll halt the military offensive in Rafah. The White House says the images are heartbreaking, adding Israel must take every precaution possible to protect civilians. The death toll in Rafah bringing protesters onto the streets. From New York to Los Angeles to Paris, where demonstrators clashed with police. Many of the families at the Rafah camp had been displaced several times already by the fighting, but were still unable to outrun the war. Why did those innocent people die? What was their guilt, this woman asks. Now they're packing up their tents once again and preparing to move on.
And the UN Security Council will meet later on today to discuss the Rafah strike. The UN estimates around 1 million Palestinian civilians have been displaced by the fighting already. And here in Tel Aviv's Hostage Square, people are hoping that ceasefire negotiations may restart this week. Hoda.
All right, Raf Sanchez for us there in Tel Aviv. Raf, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific.
Here it is. Now they're trying to do damage control, which is crazy because while they're trying to do damage control, they're simultaneously doing more damage, which they will inevitably have to do damage control over. So think about that. As we are having this conversation, Israel is rolling its fucking tanks in the center of Rafah. Okay? The last remaining humanitarian safe zone. They're moving tanks into. Early hours after this attack, they were claiming victory, saying 2 higher-up Hamas members were killed. But now there's a PR issue. It was an accident. Of course, that is how it always works. We didn't do it. It was a misfired rocket. Okay, we did it, but we were killing Hamas. Okay, there was no Hamas, but, you know, this is an accident caused because of Hamas's war on Israel. They're genocidal. Okay, there was no Hamas there. It was just civilians. We told them to be there, but then also we shot and killed them. But, you know, maybe you should stop paying attention to us because that seems a little anti-Semitic that you're constantly chirping about Israel doing shit. Genocide feels a lot better when you don't got a bitch in your ear telling you that it's unconscionable and inhumane to do so. Yeah, it wasn't a safe zone, but it was a safe zone. Turns out it's not a safe zone any longer. They're literally fucking putting people into safe zones, which are not really safe zones anyway, because there's a proper legal designation for it. Meanwhile, here's what America's doing. The pier built by the U.S. military to leave aid to Gaza broke apart after not a single fucking not a single ounce of aid was delivered, by the way. The invasion of Rafah isn't even serving the goal of ethnic cleansing. They aren't evacuating to Egypt. They're being moved back north within Gaza. Yes, because they're doing a fucking endless cycle of the Trail of fucking Tears, okay? That's why.
אנחנו פה על הים, תראו מה קורה למזח של האמריקאים, פשוט התנתק וממש מוצף, עוד מעט המשאית נופלת למים, הכל פה הולך לטבוע. ככה זה שעוזרים לאויב. שימו לב.
They're back to this fake phone call bullshit. Bro. Who believes this any longer, man? Like, they've been doing this and recycling this literally since October 7. It's just so fucking stupid, dude. Oh my God, bro. It is so bad. It's so bad. It's so fucking bad. Literally, dude, every fucking time, dude. Yes, I am Hamas terrorist. Please. Israel will never bomb us. I am Hamas terrorist. Yes, my name is Mohammed. I am Hamas terrorist. And I am using human shield. I hope Israel will never bomb us because they are most moral army.
Despite our efforts to minimize civilian casualties during the strike, the fire that broke out was unexpected and unintended. This is a devastating incident which we did not expect. We're investigating what caused the fire.
What are we doing? Why are we trying to do a Al Ahly literally fucking months after like, what are they doing? What are they doing? I really personally thought that we were over this. You know what I mean? We were done. We were done with this because they did this so many fucking times. Is this going to be another fucking OSINT cycle? Is that what we're going to do? Is that what's happening? 36,000 deaths so far. 36,000 Palestinians have been fucking ruthlessly slaughtered. And we're still having this convo? Like, this is the same exact fucking convo after Al Ahly. Try to fucking misinform. Just circulate as much misinformation as possible to reorient the discourse directly back to, well, maybe it's Hamas's fault, actually. Have you guys thought about how it's Hamas's fault? And it will. People will use it too. It doesn't even fucking matter. Oh my God. Oh my God. I hate this so much. You're not even wrong. Evil OSINT accounts are caping again on this specific massacre. Let me entertain the notion that there is ordnance, like Hamas ordnance, that blew up for one moment. Okay? 36,000 deaths. Let's, for a brief moment, suspend our disbelief and forget that Israel has lied in this exact same way a million times over. Okay? What is the overarching argument here? That only Israel gets to kill Palestinians? Like, what is the attitude here? What is the fucking, what are we listening to? This is the exact same question I asked after the Al Ahly hospital. If this was a Palestinian misfire, what are we supposed to think? That, like, wow, why we got to condemn these guys, you know? We got to condemn these guys. They killed their own people. So what about the fucking 36,000 people that you killed? That's okay? Like, what's happening here? Only we, as Israel, get to kill Palestinians. No one else. Is that the argument? Like, what the fuck? The only time Israel has smoke for dead Palestinians is if it is what they are claiming is Palestinian rockets. Why would Hamas hide in civilian tents in Rafah? I mean, Israel has to remove Hamas from the West Bank so the Palestinians can see the top of the hour ad break in peace. Jesus Christ. Why did I read that? That wasn't even fucking good. Jesus Christ. Oh, I hate this. I hate this so much. I mean, not the ad break debate. That guy got me fair and square. I'm not on my tippy top game here because obviously, like, you know, I did a podcast earlier. I'm not fucking paying attention. It is technically 1:53. I wasn't expecting one. But whatever. I'll serve her regardless. He fucking got me. He got my ass. There's a 3-minute ad break coming to you now. If you no longer want to see those ads, you already know what to do. You must subscribe for $5 or free with a Twitch Prime. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Yeah, I'm like looking at the fucking atrocities that are beyond human comprehension. Man-made horrors beyond human comprehension. And sometimes I forget that at the top of the hour, I might get debated.
That resulted in this tragic loss of life. The investigation is ongoing. I will now share the facts that we've gathered so far. As you can see, in our aerial...
I haven't even looked at the phone call, and my immediate reaction is it's most likely fake because Israel has faked phone calls 1,000,000 times over. We'll dive into it, but oftentimes the markers of a fucking fake phone call is the exact same shit that corresponds to Israeli narratives. It's almost identical to the tortured confessions that they film, where they get like Palestinian people that they've apprehended and very clearly beat the shit out of to say things like, yeah, we're Hamas actually. We're just like Hamas, if not worse. We're bad Muslims. The goal overall is to basically, the goal there is to just humiliate the resistance forces. It's not even a thing that is like considered valid by anyone else for the most part. Most people look at it and go, yeah, no, that's fucking bullshit. The phone call, again, the phone call is almost always so made up. 2 Gazans on the phone, and you can't even hear the sound of drones behind either. IDF not even trying. Yeah, I mean, we'll look at it. But usually some of the markers is like Gazan, like the Gazan Arabic, like a Gazan accent, I guess, like a Palestinian Arabic accent. They just get like a couple Druze or like whoever speaks Arabic to fucking do it. Back in the day, they were much better. The Gazan dialect. Back in the day, they were much better at doing this kind of thing. Because I feel like they had more smoke. They had to like fight for it. You know what I mean? They were better at like hiding their genocidal ambitions and shit. Nowadays, they don't even fucking try. They just go, here, we found 2 Gazan terrorists talking to one another saying death to America.
Surveillance from the time of the strike, we targeted a closed structure away from tent area. As you can see, there are no tents in the immediate vicinity of the structure that we targeted. Contrary to reports, we conducted the strike outside the area that we designated as a...
Yeah, they literally said, we're sorry, by the way. They said, we didn't strike them. And then they said, oops, we did, and we're sorry. And now they're saying, oops, we didn't, we're not sorry. You know what's really ironic about this particular brand of projection, by the way? They lie in the opposite direction all the time as well. What do I mean by this? They did this whenever Hamas or any kind of Palestinian resistance group actually blows up an Israeli target. If it's near, if it's even something that they can claim that's near, even if it's an established base, they'll just close up one of the fucking crossings. Like the Eretz crossing was closed because they falsely claimed that Hamas blew up the crossing. Okay? Which was ridiculous because it's so suspicious that Hamas is doing things that just perfectly correspond to what Israel wants to do, which is to starve the entire Gazan population. Why would Hamas blow up the Eretz crossing? Oh, that's right. They didn't actually do that. They blew up a base that was 2 kilometers away from the Eretz crossing. And in order to punish the entire Palestinian population for, Hamas's combat victories, once again, they chose to close up the Eretz crossing and claim that Hamas blew it up. They did that. They literally did that. They did that like a month ago. And then they do this exact same thing on the opposite direction as well. Why do people keep believing these shits? A couple different reasons. One, we submit to authority because the Western mind is the Caucasoid mind is particularly predisposed to being cucked to power. We love being servile. We love submitting to authority. So that's number one. This is an organ of a well-established democratic government that is within the confines of American hegemonic power. So of course, as Caucasoids, we fucking see that and we go, oh, my lord, well, that's some good guy. Other leaders have told me he's a good guy, my lord, so I believe him. Right? So that's number one. The other reason is because a lot of people don't give a fuck about who they're killing. So they desperately want to not feel bad about all the death and destruction that Israel is causing. Okay? So they're desperately looking for any kind of thing that they can grab onto to be like, no, they were asking for it. Please. I gotta say, as a black Caribbean man, I love when you use Dr. Umar's talking points. LaMaFayal cracks me the fuck up. I mean, I don't think Dr. Umar invented Caucasoid, but I am a fan of his. But regardless.
Humanitarian area and called civilians to evacuate to. Our strike was over a kilometer and a half.
Bro, motherfuckers are not even trying. This dude literally just has 1488 in his username. Congratulations, you Nazi fucking piece of shit.
Half away from the El Muasi humanitarian area, what we call the safer zone. Here is...
Wait. Oh my God, bro. Bro, first of all, the safer zone. Remember, they call it the safer zone and not a safe zone. Why do they call it the safer zone and not a safe zone, you might ask? That is because a safe zone is a legal designation. And they do not have the interest in providing safety in the safe zone. So they try to say, oh, it's a safer zone, as in it's safer than the other zone that we're blowing up. But that doesn't mean you'll be safe there either. And you won't get running water. You won't get you won't get drinkable water, for example. Like in a safe zone, you're supposed to provide the civilians water, electricity, certain amenities, certain things for survival. And of course, a guarantee that they will not blow you up. Okay? So they go, safer zone. They play fast and loose with this narrative.
Where Hamas claims we struck. And here is where we conducted our strike against the Hamas senior commanders outside the area designated as a humanitarian area. Our aerial surveillance was filming prior to the strike in order to minimize civilian harm. Here is the footage from our strike of the specific structure where the senior Hamas commanders...
Yeah, no other strikes happened, by the way, just that.
Were meeting.
Remember, going back to Al-Ahli, which we still do not have any conclusive evidence on whether or not it was a misfired Palestinian Islamic Jihad rocket or an Israeli artillery strike that hit like a gas tank or whatever the fuck, okay? We do not have any real evidence to this day, and we probably never will. But what did Israel do after Al-Ahli? What did Israel do after Al-Ahli? They immediately said we were not operating in the area. That was a lie. They lied. Then they came out with a phone conversation. That was also immediately disproven to be truthful. It was also a lie. Okay? Then they said, first they said it was Hamas. Well, first they celebrated it and said there are Hamas terrorists at the hospital, so we had to fucking blow it up. Then they went back on it and were like, okay, just kidding. It wasn't it was actually a misfire. It was a misfire rocket, okay, that blew up. Meanwhile, Os and Andes were fucking running around, literally coming up with the dumbest fucking theories. Like, oh, this was actually an intercepted rocket that fell on the hospital. Made no goddamn sense. But it didn't matter. Everybody went along with it. Everybody went along with it for days. How am I to believe Israel ever again? How? I have to be literally the biggest Islamophobe on the fucking planet to ever believe a single fucking thing that the Israeli government says. How? How am I supposed to look at this critically and go, let me take what they're saying seriously? Now, everyone that desperately wants to poison the well and has said that I'm an Islamist fundamentalist, that I'm like fucking, a Palestinian jihadi or whatever the fuck, whatever kind of like racist bullshit, has desperately tried to make this seem like my analysis on this is simply motivated by some ancient anti-Semitism, even though ironically, those very same people who say that are literally anti-Semitic. Okay? But even if I did not have, many, many years of covering this conflict and covering many different iterations of these sieges and this ethnic cleansing, okay, which I do, if I was looking at this with fresh eyes, okay, if I'm looking at this with fresh eyes, since October 7, there is no fucking way that I can trust what the fucking Israeli government is saying. That level of skepticism is genuinely healthy, for the record, and you should exercise that for America as well. As I do, as you know. For example, America, when we're doing our many different invasions and occupations and whatnot, we will routinely lie about this shit too. We did this. We did this not that long ago under the Brandon administration. When we were leaving Kabul, we lobbed one last fucking tomahawk for all the good times in the courtyard. If you remember, what did the DOD say about it? The DOD said, oh, we didn't actually kill a whole family. It was a terrorist. Okay? It was a terrorist. Turns out it was an aid worker and not a terrorist at all. We just massacred a fucking Afghan family of a humanitarian aid worker for no fucking reason. Faulty intel. That came out afterwards due to the many different investigations that occurred. Do the brilliant work at the time of the New York Times Visual Investigations Unit. But that didn't stop the DOD from lying, because that's what governments do. So remove the shackles that you have in your mind when you analyze what the Israeli government is saying that cause you to think, am I being anti-Semitic here? The Israeli government is not Judaism, okay? It is the government. It is a government that is currently doing ethnic cleansing. And I personally understand, given that this is a progressive community that cares about bigotry, that does not want anti-Semitism to thrive, there is always that notion in our minds, because you've heard it so many fucking times, because Israel presents itself as the Jewish country, the Jewish state. It has to be a Jewish state. It is protecting Judaism. It is protecting Judaism as a monolith. So when that fucking, shut the fuck up, chatter. I didn't say shekels. I said shackles. Remove the shackles from your mind, like the chains. I'm explaining what that means. This is not an opportunity for you to fucking be weird about Jewish people, okay? In any case, as I was stating, you can't go 2 minutes talking about Gazan children being slaughtered without having to talk about anti-Semitism. Yes. Okay. Yes. Because I do care about making sure that people understand that this is not coming from an anti-Semitic place, because people will cynically weaponize anti-Semitism to both defend the actions of Israel, a genocidal fascist state, and will also offensively claim that Israel is doing these actions of genocide, ethnic cleansing, and apartheid for Judaism. Okay? I'm covering this in the fucking Western world. So of course, speaking to a Western audience, I'm going to cover that aspect of it. Just stopped in to say you're a fucking loser. By the time you read this, I'll be gone. You fucking loser. Yeah, dude, my life is so shitty. Thank you. Thank you for addressing how much of a loser I am. You, on the other hand, you're very cool that you bravely came in to say that. Very sane, very normal, very cool. Every cool person that you know is doing, every cool person you know is making sock accounts to go to their least favorite Twitch streamers chat to be like, you're a fucking loser, dog. So cool they run away preemptively. I know. Anyway. After posting about the Rafah massacre today, my Jewish Zionist mother asked me to please stop posting about Pakistan. That's hilarious. Okay.
The strike was conducted using 2 munitions with small warheads suited for this targeted strike. We're talking about munition with 17 kilos of explosive material. This is the smallest munition that our jets can use. Following this strike, a large fire ignited for reasons that are still being investigated. Our munition alone could not have ignited a fire of this size. I want to repeat it. Our munition alone could not have ignited a fire of this size. Our investigation seeks to determine what may have caused such a large fire to ignite. We are looking into all possibilities, including the option that weapons stored in a compound next to our target, which we did not know of, may have ignited as a result of the strike.
Yeah, it's Hamas once again. Man, it's crazy. It's Hamas again, bro. That's crazy. It's always, anytime the Western world gives a shit about Israel's misconduct during its like normal process of ethnic cleansing, it's always Hamas. And what is really indecent about this is that the media will report it as fact without conducting any investigation whatsoever. That is gross, dude. That is fucking gross. That makes us even more culpable in this, by the way. That makes Western media even more culpable in this ethnic cleansing campaign. And it's not just like Al Ahly, but it's also just like the Flower Massacre. If you recall, during the Flower Massacre, what did the Israeli government do immediately? Oh, it wasn't us, it was Hamas terrorists that were fighting in the area, and that is why our people were fighting against. It's like, and then we saw it was looters and Hamas, and then we saw what happened. It was a stampede where many of the Palestinians, they had bullet holes in them during the stampede. It's every single time. And here's how you know it's fucking bullshit too, by the way. Okay? I don't know if this particular instance, there's any veracity to what they're saying, but it's ridiculous for me to immediately not be skeptical, especially considering that in every single fucking circumstance since October 7th, when the Western world goes, oh shit, that's a bridge too far for us, not the 36,000, but this instance, that's a little bit too cruel for us. They go, oh, it must have been Hamas. They did this with Shireen Abu Akleh as well. You have to remember something important here. They only do this when people care. They only do this when people actually do pay attention to like one specific atrocity. Too many people saw the decapitated baby. Too many people saw it. That was not great for Israel's PR. Okay? So, of course, they have to do counter propaganda by muddying the waters. And the media will fucking willingly go along with it without conducting their own investigations into the matter. World Central Kitchen. First thing that they claimed was, oh, we shot them because they had armed assailants. They were literally on a fucking safe route after engaging in deconfliction with the Israeli military, and they still fucking blew them up. Triple tapped them. Okay?
It should be noted, Hamas has been operating from this area since October 7th. Here, in this satellite image, 43 meters from the structure we target.
Couple like official looking bullshit drone shots, and that's all it takes. That's all it fucking takes, baby, for the Western world to be like, yep, see, it was Hamas. It was Hamas.
You can see Hamas rocket launchers. Hamas fired rockets from these launchers at Israel during their massacre on October 7th. We are also assessing footage documented by Gazans on the night of the strike, posted on social media, which appear to show secondary explosions, indicating that there may have been weapons in the area. Our signal intelligence intercepted some phone calls that reinforce this concern, raising the possibility that weapons stored in a nearby compound caught fire. Here is one of those phone calls.
Wait, we can't even see it because of the fucking Chiron. Wait, where's the does anyone else have it? 9,000 likes, of course. Yeah, that can literally just be a propane tank or even bags of flour. You just making shit up. No. It is weapons cache. You don't understand. Flour can be used as a weapon. Remember the flour massacre caused by Hamas. Don't investigate it further. Yeah, isn't it wonderful how they always happen to find a phone conversation that identically parallels what they're now saying. Like they did not fucking intercept phone conversation. They never have phone conversations intercepted at the moment of the strike. It's always like, it always takes like a day, but they immediately are able to find a phone conversation that details exactly what their argument is. It starts off with, and they say that they, Hamas terrorists that were bombed, sat in a meeting and that there is a facility. And in addition, they had ammunition because all the ammunition that started exploding. Bags of money were flying in the air. Abu Rafik. These ammunition that exploded were really ours? Yes, this is an ammunition warehouse. I tell you, it exploded. I mean, the Jewish bombing wasn't strong. It was a small missile because it didn't create a large hole. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but the Jewish bombing wasn't strong. It was a small hole because it didn't create a large hole. And then the second speaker goes, yo, it is really crazy how honorable and how moral they are. First speaker, yes, because they are the most moral army, unlike Hamas, which we hate. Gur, says the second speaker, the only group of people I hate more than Hamas is Kamir Khan of the ICC. Yes, first speaker says, I absolutely despise Amir Khan. The fact that that bastard is trying to prosecute Yoav Gallant, who has conducted the most honorable, most moral military campaign in Gaza, makes me so mad. Second speaker says, I hope that Israel finishes off Hamas and also kills my family in the process because I think it would be valid if my family died. First speaker says, what? You want your family to die? Second speaker says, yes, if they died in the hands of Israel, it would be valid because they would be doing the honorable thing, which is killing Hamas. And then they both say, I love Israel. Did you know Tel Aviv is a perfect destination for a gaycation? As an audio listener, I have no idea how much of this is ad-libbing and how much of this is real. It's all, I'm fucking joking, obviously. Well, I'm not joking when when the phone conversation they quote-unquote intercepted was, I mean, the Jewish bombing wasn't strong. It was a small missile because it didn't create a large hole. And afterwards, a lot of secondary explosions. And they say that they, Hamas terrorists that were bombed, sat in a meeting and that there is a, oh, it goes back to the beginning. Okay. They end the conversation by saying, Am Israel Chai. Yeah. Yeah, they did this already. Hamas Operative 2. They're saying it belongs to Palestinian Islamic Jihad. It's from us, Hamas Operative 1. It looks like it, Hamas Operative 2. Hamas Operative 1. Who says this? They are saying that the shrapnel from the missile is local shrapnel and not like Israeli shrapnel. What are you saying, bleep? But God bless, it couldn't have found another place to explode. This was after the Al Ahli hospital explosion. Isn't it fucking awesome how convenient it is for Israel? I mean, it's crazy. Isn't it fucking awesome that it's just so convenient for Israel that there's always like a couple Palestinians having a phone conversation that in the immediate aftermath of whatever the fuck Israel did next, where they're just like calm, collected, and simply addressing all of the facts of the matter, that it was certainly not Israel. Anyway, great stuff, though. Totally exonerated. I believe it.
We are working to verify the cause of the fire. It is still too early to be determined.
Yeah, bro, I believe it. Well, I'm convinced. I'm the dumbest person you've ever met. And it surely seems like it would be, it surely doesn't seem like far too convenient. I've never paid attention to anything before, and I will not pay attention to anything after. Israel has unimaginable amounts of surveillance, which they actually do. They do have 24/7 drone surveillance, but they can tap into every phone conversation of everyday Palestinians and Hamas militants, and yet they have not been able to find any of the fucking hostages until they blow up a house where the hostages are in, and then they pick their fucking corpses out of the rubble. How can these two things exist in the same fucking place? How is that possible? Israel has Batman-level surveillance of every single phone conversation that's occurring at any given moment, but for some reason, they just can't find a single one of the fucking hostages, dude. Very odd. How did they not intercept comms about October 7th but have this under 48 hours of strike? Here, I'll give you a really good answer for it. It's because they are lying. It's because they made it up. It's because no two Palestinian men are having a conversation in the middle of the fucking rubble while like they're pulling their fucking family members that have turned into dust out of the encampment. They're calling each other to have a conversation about how moral Israel is and how small their rockets are and how actually they're more mad about Hamas because that must have been a Hamas weapons depot. Yeah, we're going to talk about what they were doing before October 7, mind you. 972 Magazine and Local Call came out with another absolute fucking banger of reporting, like a bombshell investigative reporting piece. Here's what they were surveilling and interfering with. The ICC, the International Criminal Court.
Even when we do find the cause of the fire that erupted, it won't make this situation any less tragic. We took a number of steps prior to the strike to avoid civilian casualties. Aerial surveillance from above, using specific munitions.
Okay, I do believe this guy actually can intercept Hamas conversations. I just don't believe that he's capable of like transcribing them though, because of the size of his fucking ears. Okay, like this guy probably does hear anytime like a Hamas militant is sneezing, he's hearing it. He probably heard me say this. Okay. My man's got some fucking satellite dishes up in there, okay? Jesus Christ, dude.
Aimed at minimizing collateral damage, delaying the attack in order to further assess expected civilian presence.
It's like, you know how people will say like, oh, body shaming is not all right because like your words might not reach his ears, but it will hear, some chatters with big old ears will hear what you have to say. It's like, no, my words will reach his ears, man. He will fucking hear me. All the way from Tel Aviv, okay? That's a bit anti-Semitic. No, it's not. No. There are certain things that people have made jokes about and have used in anti-Semitic depictions. Large ears is not one of them, okay? It is not like a racist Jewish stereotype that he looks like Dumbo, okay? That's just him. That's him and him only. Ain't nobody got fucking flaps like that.
And other means. This incident is being investigated by the General Staff Fact-Finding and Assessment Mechanism, an independent and professional body that is investigating the circumstances of those killed in the area of the strike. This investigation will be swift, comprehensive, and transparent.
I believe it. Yeah, definitely. Someone in the chat said he's the Israeli Air Force. Yeah, he flies with those shits, okay? That's what it is. Broken here thoughts. That's why he knew. He knew that it was Hamas because he heard the thoughts of Hamas.
Our war is against Hamas, not against the people of Gaza, which is why we convey deep sorrow for this tragic loss of life.
Yeah, dude. He is deeply, deeply saddened by this tragic loss of life. Bro, you killed 36,000 before. Fuck you mean you're deeply sad about this tragic loss of life? No, you're not. The only reason why you're even saying any of these things, which you're saying reluctantly, it's so funny that he has to like get up here and apologize, reluctantly, mind you, because the Western world saw it and we're like, oh my God, you literally decapitated a fucking baby. That is insane. So then he has to turn around and be like, oh, we are so saddened by this tragic loss of life. It is so fucked up. Oh, but 36,000 before, that is Hamas.
Terror in Rafah. There is still Hamas battalions in Rafah. A couple of days ago, launchers from Rafah fired to Tel Aviv. Millions of people went into bomb shelters.
This is a actually very good point by Cenk, which is exactly what I'm trying to explain. Israel just murdered another 21 people in a tank camp that was supposed to be in the civilian evacuation zone near Rafah. But since there was no video of children on fire this time, they haven't bothered apologizing. Congress wants to give Netanyahu a standing ovation for this. He's absolutely right. Because Israel does not ever call into question the record at all when there isn't enough stink about the people that they're murdering. Just like the 36,000 people that they murdered. Just like the 200 aid workers that they fucking slaughtered before the 7 World Central Kitchen aid workers that they slaughtered. Notice how they never had to talk about how it was Hamas when they killed 200 aid workers before the 7? Because when you don't give a fuck in the Western world, they don't even care to do propaganda on it.
there is still terror in Rafah. Today and the day before, we have again detected tunnels on the Philadelphia corridors. Those are tunnels going to Sinai. We are.
Wait, they killed 36 people just now yesterday? No, man. No, over the course of the past 8 months. And I believe that is also an undercount regardless. Yeah, I mean, I wrote about this as well. Here, this is what our piece of shit had to say.
So how does this not violate the red line that the president laid out?
As I said, we don't want to see a major ground operation. We haven't seen that at this point.
How many more?
Even bro, like that's CNN, bro. Right? I think that's, or ABC, whatever. One of the big ones. I forget what his name is right now. Or CBS. Yeah, that's CBS. You're right. It is CBS. I've literally named every fucking other one. Ed O'Keefe. Thank you, Themasius. That is Ed O'Keefe with CBS. When you got Ed O'Keefe with CBS openly rolling his eyes at what you are saying, when his primary function is literally to be a stenographer for the things that you're saying, you have to understand how deep in the pocket you are. His job is quite literally never to investigate. Okay? Douchey and the other Fox people are more contentious to the Democratic White House than Ed O'Keefe is. Okay? His job literally is to just go, okay, I'm writing exactly what you said here. When you are that fucking far gone, as Kirby is, and you are that bad at trying to massage the narrative, even Ed O'Keefe is rolling his fucking eyes at you. Pete Douchey over here, look at him. Look at that douchebag sitting right next to him. Wonder what he has to say.
Charred corpses does he have to see before the president considers a change in policy?
We don't want to see a single more innocent life taken, and
this is unceremonious, okay? This is not normal. Do you understand? The death and destruction that we are watching unfold is also not normal, but you have to remember, you have to fucking understand something. Ed O'Keefe saying, how many more charred corpses does the White House have to see to enforce a red line? I've never fucking heard a person whose entire job is to be a part of the fucking White House press corps come out with this level of contention when there is a Democratic president in charge. Like, I'm going to run that back.
So how does this not violate the red line that the president laid out?
I got to pee.
as I said, we don't want to see a major ground operation. We haven't seen that at this point.
How many more charred corpses does he have to see before the president considers a change in policy?
We don't want to see a single more innocent life taken, and I kind of take a little offense at the question. No civilian casualties is the right number of civilian casualties, and this is not something that we've turned a blind eye to, nor has it been something we've ignored or neglected to raise with our Israeli counterparts, including, Ed, this weekend as a result of this particular strike. Now, they're investigating it, so let's let them investigate it and see what they come up with.
But the president doesn't have like a personal limit to this?
The president has been very clear and very direct about what our expectations are for Israeli operations in Rafah specifically, but in Gaza writ large. We don't support, we won't support a major ground operation in Rafah. And we've, again, been very consistent on that. And the president said that should that occur, then it might make him have to make different decisions in terms of support. We haven't seen that happen at this point.
Why not have him come out and say that himself?
The president has been speaking to leaders throughout the region on a regular basis. He has been addressing you guys in various fora. You've got plenty of opportunities to talk to the president, including, I might add, in a press conference last week.
Oh, yeah. Biden, by the way, is noticeably absent. Isn't that crazy? President receives the daily brief, and then that's it. It's very strange. It's very strange that he has been noticeably absent since the ICC and the ICJ decisions. Well, no, not since the ICC. He wasn't absent after the ICC decision. He literally said it is unacceptable. What the ICC is doing is unacceptable. But since the ICJ ceasefire decision, which is, by the way, directly trying to enforce the red lines that Biden drew for Israel, he has not said a fucking thing. How strange, how odd.
Talking to the Egyptians, we are demolishing those tunnels. We are working in a precise and targeted.
We haven't seen that, motherfucker. 40% of Rafah's buildings have been destroyed or severely damaged. Your media plays this fucking dumb for free. They just won't challenge them. Yes. That's absolutely correct. That's why I say, in order to get more valid intel about what's going on in Israel, I would much rather trust Israeli media. Like, I would much rather trust a rabid fucking ultra-nationalist Zionist journalist than I would a dumb fuck in the American press corps. Because the dumb fucks in American press corps are, one, super far removed from the conversation. Two, literally will just repeat whatever the fuck the State Department is saying. Straight up.
Way, there's still hostages in Rafah. And we need to make sure that we do everything we can to bring our hostages back home.
Hello, I'm Ben Brown. Welcome to Verified Live. 3 hours of breaking news. Let's start in the Middle East. And Israeli tanks are now reported to have reached the very centre of Rafah, the heart of the city in southern Gaza.
By the way, this is directly ground assault. Okay? This is ground assault, as in the definitional clear-cut, like the final boundary. Obviously, blowing up humanitarian aid convoys and blowing up fucking supposedly safe zones and causing fires in tent cities that exist only because you caused explosions elsewhere. All of that is complete violations of the red line. But there is no, like, you're constantly finding the Biden administration redraw that red line over and over again. And the one thing that they kept saying is like the ground offensive. We just don't want a ground offensive. Well, now you have it. Now you have that too. Where the fuck is it?
As Israel carries out its most intense bombardment of Rafah since the war began, hundreds of Palestinian families who were already displaced have fled temporary shelters in Rafah following airstrikes and tank fire by Israeli forces overnight. Well, it all comes despite...
Why the fuck would I watch this, bro? You're on crack, I think.
International condemnation.
It has 7,000 views too. Like, what the fuck? What are you crazy? Why am I giving clout to random dumb fucks who are lying about me? Why do you want, like, I have more haters in here than the fucking number of views that person has. Think, man, think.
Over that Israeli airstrike on Sunday, which led to a devastating fire at a refugee camp, killing 45 people, including women and children. Now, the UN Security Council will be discussing the situation in Gaza later on. Well, meanwhile, the Israeli military says it is investigating the possibility, it says, that weapons stored in a nearby compound caught fire from its airstrike on Sunday in Rafah. Here is the Israel Defense Forces spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari.
Our munition alone could not have ignited a fire of this size. I want to repeat it. Our munition alone could not have ignited a fire of this size. Our investigation seeks to determine what may have caused such a large fire to ignite. We are looking into all possibilities, including the option that weapons stored in a compound next to our target, which we did not know of, may have ignited as a result of the strike.
That's Daniel Hagari of the IDF, and the IDF have promised a swift.
It is pretty crazy that Daniel Irgari, is famous for literally pointing to a calendar with Arabic lettering on it and lying and saying, here are the names of the Hamas terrorists, and doing the worst type of propaganda. Like that guy. At least get another guy. You don't have another guy with big old ears? No? That's the one guy you have? Like, they're not even recycling the people that are losing personally any kind of social capital they may have. It's either big ears or Frankenstein. No, Frankenstein's gone. He's actually a civilian now. He's just doing this for fun. And Eilon Levy is too. Frankenstein's monster, Jonathan Konkunkri, with a big old dome, Sebastian Gorka dome. He's gone. He's actually now operating as a civilian. So is Eilon Levy. What? No. No. Come on, Haaretz. God damn it, bro. The most paywalled motherfucking website of all time, dude. I swear to God. Oh. You have to click the link again because you were refreshing the Adblock article. Oh. The Ministry of Health in Gaza, 21 were killed in the Israeli attack on a displaced persons camp in West Rafah. IDF, we were not attacked there. According to the ministry, 64 people were injured in the attack, including 10 in serious condition. The emergency committee of the Rafah municipality stated that most of the victims, both dead and wounded, are women and children. Wait, why are they saying that? Why are they admitting that? People were killed today in a displaced person camp in 21 in West Rafah. This is what medical personnel on the Gaza Strip said. Oh, it's a mistranslation. They're saying they didn't attack there. Bro, that's so funny. IDF, we were not attacked there. I thought you... Dude, what the fuck? Yo! Yo! I thought they were... I thought they were just admitting it now. They're like flexing. Why not use their English website? Because this has not hit the English website yet. Most likely. And the chatter that sent it to me is Israeli. I'm sorry, Google Translate is anti-Semitic. Yeah, this is crazy. Dude, Google Translate is just like, fuck it, YOLO. Israel, we did it. And we are not sad. Google Translate is Hamas.
Earlier today,
Channel 4 covered it, but TOS at 18 seconds. Here, we'll look at this.
Rafah, more broken bodies, more blood in the sand of the now forever displaced. According to local emergency services, at least 21 people were killed, 64 injured. At the end of this footage, a child on his knees rocking back and forth over the body of a woman. A cluster of tents were hit close to a field hospital. Gaza's health ministry said 17 of the dead were women and children. The IDF said they were not responsible for this strike.
So how did it happen, bro? By the way, this is not yesterday. This is literally recent. Like, this isn't the previous one. Okay? This isn't the one that they're lying about currently.
Ahmed Nasir, originally from Gaza City, had to collect the bodies of his extended family.
The fire one was the night before this one. This was in the morning, yeah.
Strike was just there. We ran towards it to see what happened, and the second strike happened here next to us. We came and found about 6 or 7 of my relatives.
The thing is, let's say you are a rabid, brain-broken, psychopathic ultra-Zionist, okay? And you want to believe in your heart of hearts that Hamas is responsible. They're killing their own people, right? To get the world to pay attention. Because, like, that's kind of what Israel tries to claim. Or they're trying to blow up Israel, but then they fail and they blow up their own people. Like, you have to remember something. If they're trying to fucking... Like, there is no motivation for Hamas to kill the Gazan population. Okay? 36,000 have been killed so far. Nobody gives a shit. Okay? An additional 17 is not going to fucking move the needle for many. Okay? That's it.
Some of my cousins, their husbands and children. People are settled here and are safe. They have nothing to do with anything. These are displaced people, my relatives, all of them are my cousins.
This is Al-Mawasi. It's just a few miles west of Tal al-Sultan, where at least 45 people were killed on Sunday night. The UN Security Council held an emergency closed-door session this afternoon to discuss the incident. The Rafah offensive is now in its third week. What happened here near a designated humanitarian zone has turned international unease into outrage. The shape of the Rafah offensive was as close as the international community had to a red line.
On Sunday night, we eliminated senior Hamas terrorists in a targeted strike.
The IDF said today that they'd killed 2 senior Hamas operatives, went on to imply that the initial strike had ignited weapons being stored in the vicinity.
Following this strike, a large fire ignited for reasons that are still being investigated. Our munition alone could not have ignited a fire of this size. I want to repeat it. Our munition alone could not have ignited a fire of this size.
The IDF released this video today as part of their Rafah operation. Eyewitnesses have seen tanks in the center of the city. A senior aid worker we spoke to described an intense military operation, combined with panic about where now constitutes a safe place to escape to.
People, they don't know where to move exactly. On the ground there are some advancement for the ground troops towards some new locations within Tal al-Sultan area. People actually, they don't know where to go, they don't know what to do. They don't know if it's safe to move within the humanitarian area or not.
The International Court of Justice called for a halt to the Rafah offensive last week. 3 countries officially recognized a Palestinian state today. The ICC awaits its request for arrest warrants. And this young man takes one last look, then zips up another body bag.
Well, a short time ago, I spoke to William Schomburg, head of the International Committee of the Red Cross delegation in Gaza, and he's currently...
How do you convince someone who believes of an accidental fire which kills so many people in Gaza? What do you mean accidental? They bombed it. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you mean accidental fire? Like, they lobbed missiles at it. The fuck? Show them the goddamn videos. It's not like they're denying that they blew it up. I know it was not accidental. The spokesman on TV, yeah, they lie all the time. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, it's just 36,000. All accidents, all minor accidents over and over again. It only becomes an accident when you pay attention to it, though, when your parents pay attention to it, though, which is odd. Yeah, we're going to be doing the Creators for Palestine live stream Thursday. Yeah, accidental famine, accidental fucking decapitation of children, accidental murder of 7 aid workers, 200 prior as well, but 7 World Central Christian aid workers, accidental flower massacre, accidental every hospital blew up, sorry.
Currently dealing with people at the ICRC field hospital in Rafah, and because of the communication difficulties, we could only reach him on the phone. I should warn you, there is flash photography in the images we've used over it.
There aren't really words to describe how devastating the picture is.
By the way, this is the other thing. You have Doctors Without Borders and numerous other international organizations working on the ground and in the hospitals. And the direct involvement, like the people who are directly involved in like trying to save the Palestinian population, every single day, they're like, these are horrors beyond human comprehension. In all of my years of working in active war zones and working through conflict and working through famine, I've never seen such atrocities in display. These aren't like random doctors, okay? Half of these guys have been around. They've gone to Iraq. They've gone to Afghanistan. They've seen what America has done to a native population in its occupation. And they keep repeating it over and over again. They're like, we have never seen this level of violence. We have never seen, this is the worst humanity has ever been throughout history.
Tonight in Rafah, we today have had again a serious incident that has led to an influx of patients into the Red Cross Field Hospital here in Rafah.
They have private practices in strip malls when they ain't doing this? Wait, what do you mean? No, these guys aren't like fucking... Doctors see a lot of horrifying shit, okay? Especially when they're working in ER and whatnot. But that's not what we're talking about here. These guys are actively going to war zones regularly. Definitely not in history, but it's bad. Yeah, of course, definitely not across the board throughout history. I'm saying throughout contemporary history, from their own personal experience, actively going and working in fucking war zones and shit. Like dudes who have been to Afghanistan, combat medics, dudes who have actually worked with Doctors Without Borders in Afghanistan and Iraq, going to Gaza and saying, I have never seen this level of fucking bloodshed. But the fog of war could render them unreliable. Yeah, dude, the fog of war caused you to think that this is a good debate, ad break debate, okay? It must be. Yeah, it must be the fog of war that's causing you to think that that's a good segue, because it's not, okay? Especially after I got caught with my dick out in the wind earlier. Trying to get my family to give a shit about this is insane. My dad is the only one in my family who knows I was arrested at my college encampment for this, and he knows I care about it. Can't get a single other family member to give a shit about it without directly inserting myself through. A lot of liberals are like this. White people don't give a shit about Arabs. Yes. So here's a valid avenue of attack for those of you, okay? Keep this in your fucking pocket. If your family members don't give a shit about the death and destruction of so many children and so many babies and women and the elderly, whatever, right? They don't care. You can't get them to care about it. Use a different avenue of attack. Tell them that these are American weapons. Tell them that these are our tax dollars being spent to murder children rather than fucking help people who are on the streets. Our veterans, for example. It was Memorial Day weekend, it was Memorial Day yesterday. What are we doing for their memory? An unimaginable percentage, I think it's like 17% of all homeless people are veterans, okay? That's crazy. It's crazy. What are we doing about that? Well, we're too busy fucking using all of our tax dollars in funding and facilitating this fucking ethnic cleansing campaign. Okay? 22 veterans a day are killing themselves. Every single dollar spent on bombs that Israel is gleefully using on a civilian population that it is trapped inside of an open-air prison could have been spent. Every single dollar that went to that bomb could have been spent on the roads, could have been spent on the infrastructure, could have been spent to harden our infrastructure against climate change, could have been spent on whatever, insert whatever cause your fucking dumb fuck parents care about. Okay? Combating crime, combating poverty at the heart of crime, combating homelessness, fixing the housing market, building new homes. Because guess what? America has a shit ton of issues. What won't work usually is, what if that was you? Because Americans will never be on the receiving end of this kind of violence. So we cannot conceptualize it. Okay? The only time we've seen this kind of violence is when we are doing it to other people that look like them. So for us, it's like unimaginable, unheard of. No, of course, you can't understand this. This only is seen through television, where the American government is doing it to people that quote unquote deserved it. Okay? It's impossible for many to even remotely consider this happening to them. So you have to remember that. And then, you know, figure out what they do care about and go, here's where the money is going. Did you know that since the year 2000, the number of veterans killing themselves is 5 to 10x the amount the American soldiers killed in combat? Yeah. It's not shocking. The 22 a day number is actually no longer 22 a day. It's 17 a day, by the way, before somebody fucking clips that and goes, Hassan, you're lying. Oh, how brilliant. How wonderful. Look at the progress we made. Only 17 veterans killed themselves every day. Not 22, guys. We did it.
We're talking about burns, terrible shrapnel wounds, you know, children, women, all of whom have been affected by the ongoing hostilities. At the same time, there's an overwhelming sense of fear and panic as the operations in Rafah intensify, and there have been yet further displacements. Like, I can look out now, the hordes of people scraping together everything they have and trying to get out of here, whether it's on foot, donkey, or car.
Are you going to?
What do we do about the massive population who doesn't give a fuck and is gleeful at this murder because they think they'll get raptured? Yeah, you can't. That's, dude, what? You are not a social worker talking to someone engaging in crisis counseling, okay? You cannot talk to your schizophrenic parents if they're evangelical Protestants who believe that, like, the rapture is coming. I'm sorry. Put them in a fucking re-education camp. Yeah, 48 hours later, not a single mainstream media outlet has covered Israeli soldiers mass burning civilian homes in Rafah with immense satisfaction and joy. Imagine those were Hamas militants posing for such pics at Israelis' kibbutzim. How many Arab savagery headlines would there be? Yep. Always. Isn't that a good thing with the veterans? No, what the fuck is wrong with you? I want to bait y'all. Good bait, man. No, I don't think 22 veterans should fucking kill themselves a day. The fuck? Good bait, dude. I'm not one of the, you know, all American troops need to be actively murdered type leftists, if that's what you think this was. Not that many of them anyway.
To be able to stay there?
We are committed to meeting the humanitarian needs of civilians in Gaza, which have reached unprecedented levels. We have a field hospital, like I mentioned. We have an office here, and we're doing everything that we can to support civilian needs, and we will stay here and continue with our work.
Can you give me any sense of the scale of the hospital and how many patients you're dealing with?
The other night, following the airstrike on the Kuwaiti Peace IDP camp, we received, I believe, 32 patients, heavily wounded individuals. We conducted amputations, dealt with several very difficult burns cases. We also have an outpatient department where we have a constant flow of civilians coming in, those who have been weapon wounded, but also just families who are looking for some health care. In a situation where there are almost no functioning hospitals.
And what happens to patients who have such drastic surgery, such as amputations, after you've dealt with them? Where can they go?
We try and follow up with them, but of course, we have other patients that we need to tend to. For the time being, they will stay within the hospital, and then after that, we will see with the families what options that they have, and they will most likely return back to different camps or homes that they've been living in following the displacement of the majority of the population for several months now.
And how heavy is the Israeli bombing at the moment, the airstrikes? Can you give me a sense of their regularity?
Pretty constant. I would say that often they are quite far away from where we are, but let's say at least on a daily basis, several times we've heard many loud explosions. Of course, difficult to fully understand exactly what's the cause of them or where they come from.
William Schomburg, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Yeah, for the record, I don't engage in like veteran worship or anything like that. That's not what I do. I think it's pretty crazy to to say that I, of all people, engage in veteran worship, considering that, like, one of my most famous quotes is directly talking about the eye hole. So, no, I don't do that at all. I think it's, veterans can get this fucking smoke too. I don't think it's a protected category by my standards, at least. Now, having said that, I mean, Brian Mass too. But having said that, that doesn't mean that, like, random dumb fucks who wanted to fucking get a Camaro or wanted to escape poverty or thought that this was a good way to get some semblance of upward social mobility by getting a fucking college education paid, then now have crippling PTSD, deserve it and should kill themselves. I don't think that. Especially if they no longer are staunch defenders of American empire. There are plenty of fucking radicalized vets who have seen firsthand the atrocities, who now atone for it every day, who have to live with that scar every day and have to atone for it every day. Many of them are in this community as well.
And transparent investigation into what happened, something which the UK Foreign Secretary Lord Cameron has also called for.
I think that what happened in Rafah overnight really did look very, very concerning, very worrying, and so we're asking for that to be investigated rapidly. The Israelis have already said it was a tragic mistake, but we want to see that properly investigated. Look, what I want to see is a stop in the fighting. We want a pause, which has been offered by the Israelis, a hostage deal to Hamas that would let prisoners out of Israeli jails, and have that pause. Because what we need is to get the hostages out, get the aid in, and have that stop in the fighting, which we can then turn into a permanent, sustainable ceasefire. That's what I want to see happen.
So that's the Foreign Secretary, Lord Cameron. Well, a little earlier, I spoke to our Middle East correspondent in Jerusalem, Hugo Bachega, who told me this is the first detailed account we've had from the Israeli military about their version of events on Sunday.
The Israeli authorities are under, a lot of pressure, international pressure, after this attack. So today we heard from Daniel Hagari, a spokesman for the Israeli military, and I think the message here in this briefing was very clear. We just heard from him saying that the Israeli attack alone could not have ignited this fire. And he's saying now that one of the possibilities being explored is that weapons being stored, near the target of this attack might have caused this fire. There was no evidence of that. He said that images posted on social media from the aftermath of the attack are being analyzed by the Israeli military, and those images, according to him, appear to show secondary explosions that he said might have been triggered by...
You're not doing your job. You're not doing your job. Do your fucking job. Your job isn't to go, this is what Israel said. Your job is to go, if you're going to say this is what Israel said, your job is to say, they have on countless instances they have this outlet, Channel 4 and the BBC, has on countless occasions found evidence that directly contradicts what the Israeli government's immediate sentiments were. Okay, it's immediate facts after a bombing campaign. It's ridiculous. You can't just say this is what the Israeli government says and just like leave it at that. You also then have to follow up with your own fucking investigation.
By those weapons that were being stored in this site near this compound that was targeted. Some other lines from this briefing again.
This isn't Channel 4, this is BBC. They're fucking awful. Channel 4 is great.
He dismissed reports saying that this attack happened in an area that had been designated as a humanitarian zone by the Israeli military. He said the target was almost 2 kilometers away from this humanitarian zone.
Bro, you're not doing it. You're not doing it. See, he's not doing journalism. He's not. He's just repeating what the Israeli government is saying. It is newsworthy when you recognize that Israel has time and time again directly lied. Or the newsworthy aspect of this would be there is no evidence to substantiate these claims. Just anything. Literally anything. You're not the PR department for Israel. What the fuck is going on? This is disgusting.
Zone. And he also said that the target here was located 180 meters away from those tents. So we know that after this airstrike, there was this huge blaze. At least 45 people were killed as a result of this attack, including many women and children. And again, a lot of international condemnation and human rights organizations saying that despite what the Israeli authorities have been saying, they know that there is, a large risk that, large numbers of people could be killed as a result.
That's crazy. He doesn't even fucking directly contradict Israel's statement and simply says the pussies over at the human rights organization say a large number of civilians can be killed. It's like, yeah, dude, we know that. They have been killed. Over and over again. You already said that in the beginning of the fucking reporting when you said 45 people died. No counter. Notice how there's no counter, no additional information about Israel's tendency to lie about these sorts of things, or even the fact that this is completely unsubstantiated. They did not offer evidence. They showed you a couple satellite shots and you took what they said for fucking granted. I'm losing my mind.
Result of these attacks because of the large number of Palestinians.
Rabbani is non-resident fellow at the Center for Conflict and Humanitarian Studies, and he's also co-editor of Gedalia. It's an online publication covering the Middle East. He's joining us live now from Montreal. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu describing this as a tragic accident, saying a grave mistake took place. Is this an appropriate response, do you think?
No, of course not. And I would point out that in contrast to previous such attacks where Israel either celebrates them or doesn't even bother giving an excuse for its actions, now it is also claimed that it is launching an independent investigation. So quite clearly, what's called the diplomatic tsunami, the recent ruling by the International Court of Justice, the ICC applications for arrest warrants and so on, are gradually beginning to have an effect. At the same time, when we look at the broader international situation, what we've learned is that US President Joe Biden's red line is actually a river of Palestinian blood, and that senior US officials are quite happy to swim in it. As far as the Europeans are concerned, we've seen quite extensive condemnation of this attack and denunciation of this attack. But 8 months into this brutal genocidal campaign, I think simply making statements becomes entirely meaningless when this is not paired with concrete actions to bring such acts, which are taking place on an almost daily basis, to a definitive end.
With the increase in diplomatic pressure, with the pressure coming from the recent rulings from the International Court of Justice, plus, of course, from the domestic pressure that the Prime Minister is facing as well, do you think that all we're going to see is just a change in his language? Is it going to have any impact at all on the way that Israel is carrying out its military operation in Gaza?
At this rate, absolutely not. And I think one objective of this attack was to demonstrate that the U.S. actually does not have a red line. And bear in mind, according to the available reports, Israel used exactly those bombs, the 2,000-pound bombs, in its attack on Tel Sultan yesterday. These are the same bombs that Biden had claimed he was suspending the delivery of to Israel. So this is basically a message, essentially raising a middle finger to the ICC, to the ICJ, to the international community, and making the claim, Washington has our back.
No, I don't think it was 2,000-pound bombs. That part, I don't know if it's correct or not. Not that it matters, but I don't think that was what, I don't think that's what they were using. I think they were using smaller munitions. That doesn't mean that it's okay. It's still a bomb regardless.
we really don't care about anything else.
In terms of the linguistic gymnastics that we've seen over the last several months.
It was an American bomb, though. That part is definitely true.
With regard, but particularly in the last couple of months, with regard to the operations that are going on in Rafah, do you think that we are going to see a continuation of the avoidance of words like a major operation, a large-scale operation, that may well be what we're seeing on the ground, but the frames of reference, if you like, are going to be much milder?
I think so. We've seen the constant shifting of the goalposts. I would also make another point. At various stages, we have seen senior U.S. officials, President Biden, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and others make statements that appear to be critical of Israel or laying down boundaries regarding what Israel can and cannot do. I don't think we should look at those in terms of reflecting any change in U.S. policy. What they actually are attempts to respond to growing domestic public opposition, to growing global criticism of the U.S.'s unconditional support of Israel, and in a sense to divert, to change the subject, to give the appearance that something is changing in Washington. But in effect, nothing happens, and these statements are intended purely for public consumption to mask the continuation of the precisely same policies with respect to Israel's genocidal onslaught in the Gaza Strip.
There are cautious talks going on with regard to the possibility of moving towards another set of potential ceasefire negotiations. Do you think, given the pressures that you've been discussing, there might be some pressure on Israel to move forward, to try to find some sort of way of finding some sort of common ground with Hamas, with the negotiators, albeit that they might not want to make that public?
Well, I would first look at what happens in the United Nations Security Council this week. The Algerians are apparently preparing to submit another draft resolution calling for a ceasefire. If, as widely expected, the U.S. either manages to water it down to the point of making it meaningless, or if it fails to do that and once again casts its veto, that would be a very clear message to Israel, to Netanyahu, that they can...
Oh, by the way, I forgot to run the 3-minute ad break. I'm going to do it right now. Sorry. I caught the debate, but then I didn't run it, I think.
Continue, and that these ceasefire discussions are really no more than a fig leaf for Israel's ability to continue.
Yes, this is Moin Rabbani. He was on the Lex Fridman debate. He's brilliant. I like him a lot. He's great.
Continue with its campaign in the Gaza Strip. So we have to look, I think, not only at the negotiations themselves, but at the broader context in which they're being conducted.
Moin Rabbani, we appreciate you being with us on Al Jazeera, so thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.
And what is the administration going to do, whether it was a tragic mistake or deliberate?
Well, let's see what the investigation says.
So you're going to wait for the Israelis to investigate
Let's
themselves?
see what the investigation comes up with. If we had done this, I think we would want the benefit of having the opportunity to investigate it and to figure out what happened.
But it's not the same thing. We're giving them billions of dollars in weapons.
We're giving them the kinds of capabilities they need to defend themselves. Maybe some people have forgotten what happened on the 7th of October, but we haven't. 1,200 Israelis, innocent Israelis.
Bro said October 7 again. Bro said October 7. It's May 28th. Is there ever a conversation about Israel's actions without October 7 and anti-Semitism declarations? Like, is there... It literally is just like, remember 9/11, guys? And it doesn't work. 9/11 fucking worked, one, because it was America that was hit, and it was a massive blow to American collective consciousness. But beyond that, it was a different time with respect to the media cycle, okay? There wasn't this level of democratization of the media where like you can directly see the impact on the ground of what the fuck was going on. People still, you know, cared about what CNN had to say more than anything else. So you can manufacture cassette much better. You can't fucking do that. You can't do that anymore. You can't. This is 2024, man. It's not 2001. We're also living in the fucking ashes of the post 9/11 America. Both domestic policy and also our global war on terror that was an abject failure. You can't 9/11 your way out of this, dude. You just can't.
Israelis slaughtered, mutilated, raped, tortured. And they're living right next to that kind of threat. Still a viable threat in Rafah, by the way. If you think Hamas is just gone, they're not gone from Rafah or from Gaza. And if you think they've abandoned their genocidal intent towards the nation of Israel, think again, they haven't. So Israel has every right to not want to live next to that kind of threat. And yes, we're going to continue to provide them the capabilities to go out.
I can't tell you what I wish that would happen to this fucking piece of shit monster, because I would be banned so fucking fast by the end of this, by the end of my statement. But I can think it. I can think it. You can't say it in the chat either. You will also get banned. But you can think it. But god damn, dude, oh my god. He is such a unique freak. Like, oh my lord. Oh, what a fucking asshole. Holy shit. Bro said Israel has every right to murder 45 people, including women and children, in a refugee camp. In the process of this conversation, Israel had also already murdered another 17 women and children at another refugee camp. While this conversation is taking place, Israel's tanks are moving into the center of Rafah. No, John Kirby is my least favorite out of all of them. Like, honestly, if there was an opportunity, let's say I only have one, anything. I'm using it on him before Matt Miller or any of the other ones. Or Fat Sagar. An ice cream cone to give to someone of friendship. No, I hate John Kirby more than I hate Blinken. I hate him more than I hate most of these guys because, like, he is a fedayeen. Okay? He is literally a fedayeen. You don't understand. Like, the other ones are like awful monsters as well, but he fucking like he loves this shit. Bro, he rocks the fucking IDF dog tag at press conferences, dude. What are you saying? Like, what are we talking about?
You've said now that you don't think a major ground invasion is happening in Rafah right now, but as you note, this is a densely populated area. It all is. I understand that this might be a secondary explosion. The Israelis are describing it as a tragic mishap, but isn't this exactly the kind of incident that you have been concerned about this whole time?
As I said in my opening statement, this exactly does speak to the challenge of military operations in a densely populated area. A challenge, I would add, Mary, that we have been sharing and our perspectives on with the Israelis from our own lessons learned in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. This incident speaks exactly to that challenge.
And despite the loss of life here, do you still believe that this strike was precise and proportional?
There's an investigation. I think we're going to let the Israelis do their work. I don't think you can expect me to speak to the details of a specific strike by Israeli military forces when we had nothing to do with that.
And just one more.
You did. It's our weapons, dude. Bro, there's a guy. It's like if there's a dude who's like a serial school shooter. Okay, and we are giving this serial school shooter all the weapons that they need, and we're fucking funding and facilitating his school shooting activities. And in the process of yet another school shooting, we're like, oh, well, it's not our fault. No, man. No, it is. It is our fault. We're sheltering the school shooter from criminal prosecution while simultaneously giving him weapons. Like, what are you talking about? It is entirely our fault. American empire is falling apart. There is no defense for this. It's done. It's so utterly indefensible. The irreparable harm that Israel has caused America on the global stage will be written about in history books when our Chinese overlords inevitably take over. We will remember these days as the final days of American empire. 100%. This will literally be remembered as the final days of American empire, American global domination. America took all of the international organs of justice that it once used against its enemies and shattered it to pieces. No more fucking soft power. Regarding the Al Jazeera presenter's question on negotiations, no. Recently, the negotiating team requested an expanded mandate from the war cabinet in order to salvage the talks. Bibi scoffed at them and rejected. A few days ago, they did renew the team's mandate, but barely expanded it. And the team thinks there's no chance for progress with it. Yesterday, Hamas said they won't send a negotiating team following the massacre, probably knowing it was hopeless anyway. It's bleak.
You've called the strike devastating, the images heartbreaking, but you've stopped short of outright condemning this strike. Can you explain why?
We have been, I think, very strident in our condemnations about the deaths of innocent civilians. These deaths are not excused from that. But we have to understand what happened here. There's going to be an investigation. They've already said it was a tragic mistake. They're looking into it. They have been able to investigate themselves and hold people accountable in the past. We'll see what they do here.
They have not. When have they done that? Someone please ask when. Like, two dudes got 0 fucking criminal charges and basically were no longer rear brigadier admiral generals, okay, for the World Central Kitchen bombing. Like, when you look at the overall, bro, Israel has punished Jewish IDF soldiers more severely for making hot dogs on Sabbath. I'm not even joking. The Israeli government and the Israeli military threw multiple IDF soldiers in jail for 20 fucking days for making hot dogs on a Saturday. What are we doing? God, I hate everyone so much. I have so much hatred in my heart for these pieces of shit. Oh my God. We haven't even gotten to the Mossad yet. Chat, we have not even gotten to the Mossad surveillance and criminal investigation. Other criminal acts of intimidation, criminal intimidation investigation conducted by 972 magazine.
Thank you. I want to be clear, after this weekend strike, is it our assumption that nothing about U.S. policy has changed or is changing in regards to...
As a result of this strike on Sunday, I have no policy changes to speak to. It just happened. The Israelis are going to investigate it. We're going to be taking great interest in what they find in that investigation, and we'll see where it goes from there.
I also want to ask, we saw a good amount of international condemnation after this strike, whether it was from President Macron of France, others in Europe. We have not yet heard from the president publicly at all about this strike. Why is that?
Well, again, I think I've answered this question with Ed. You've heard the president on numerous occasions in just the last few days about what's going on in the Middle East and in other places around the world, and you'll hear from him again. I'm absolutely confident in that.
One last question. Is there any concern that the United States itself is being isolated internationally as we continue to support the operation and you're seeing European allies?
One of the things...
Do you hate Biden more than Trump at the moment, little bro? No. I hate him equally. It's a stupid ass question. I have the maximum amount of hatred in my heart for both of those pieces of shit. Partially because, unlike many others, I understand how we got to this point to begin with. And it's every other American president before them, too, that allowed this to happen. But Trump greatly accelerated it.
One of the things that we've talked about with the Israelis are about the manner in which some of these operations are being conducted, is the real danger that Israel itself could become further isolated from the international community.
Hey, fuck Israel, bro. Sorry. Suck my fucking dick, bitch. Oh, Israel can suck my cock, dude. How about that? Oh, no, dude. Oh, dude. Oh, no, Israel might get isolated. Yeah, dude, Nazi Germany might get isolated. We're really worried about that. Suck my fucking dick. Like, as a government, that's crazy. Guys, don't worry about... America might get isolated and we're scared, but you know what we're really scared about? Israel getting isolated. It's like, what are you saying, bro? Go fucking do this for Israel then. Why are you doing this for America? Fuck you, man. Holy shit. It literally gets worse every day, man. John Kerbals. Yeah, 100%. Every day. Every day that Israel keeps doing some fuck shit, American politicians and American State Department officials literally keep coming out and being like, listen, bro, you don't understand. I love Israel more than I love America, okay? Like, straight up, I would die for Israel, bro. I would die for Israel. I like America. I like America. It's fine. It's whatever. Poo. I shit on the flag, okay? But the Israeli flag, dude, if you fucking come near that shit, I will kill you. What the fuck?
Just by dint of the manner in which they are conducting operations. So this is of concern, clearly, because it's not in Israel's best interest, and it's not in our best interest for Israel to become increasingly isolated on the world stage. As a matter of fact, one of the things the president came into office wanting to do, and actually we had made some progress before the 7th of October, was working towards a more integrated Israel into the region. So it's in our national security interest to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Bro is literally defending the Abraham Accords, bro. Why should the Democratic Party and its own personal leadership, like how does the Democratic Party have a leg to fucking stand on? Like, how? You are personally invested in defending Israel so hard that you are handing it to the Trump administration.
The president doesn't make decisions and he doesn't execute on policy based on public opinion polling or on popularity contests.
Oh, we know. We know, dumbass. You don't have to say that again. Yeah, the president doesn't operate on popularity. He doesn't really operate on anything other than just like pure spite, pure resentment, and dementia. He's basically a sock puppet. He doesn't operate on popularity. He doesn't operate on human rights. He just operates on like what's good for Israel. I don't really care. They can do whatever they want.
He bases his decisions on our own national security interests, what's at stake for our safety and security here at home and abroad, and what's in the best interests of our allies and partners. Sometimes what's in the best interest of your alliance and your partnership is to be candid, forthright, even tough with your friend, which we have been able to do with Israel.
Sorry, I just want to be clear on that. We spoke about Israel's isolationism there. I just want to make it clear, are you concerned?
Wait. When have we been tough with Israel? We were like, he used too many fucking 2,000-pound bombs. So we're just going to stop one shipment one time and then immediately fucking follow through with a $26 billion package. So what are we doing? What do you mean we've been tough? Oh, man, we have been so tough on Israel.
concerned at all, or is the administration concerned at all about the United States being out of step or isolated?
I thought I got to that in the last part of my soliloquy.
No, I did.
I did.
Well, I'm sorry, I did not catch that.
You didn't get it. Okay, so I'm gonna try it again, and we'll see. Maybe take two will be better. The president's not making decisions based on popularity or public opinion polls here around the world. He's making decisions about our national security based on those interests and what meets those interests. And it certainly doesn't meet our interest, and it doesn't meet our Israeli partners' interest for them to become further isolated. But he's not making decisions based on that being a worry. He's making decisions based on what's in the best interest of the American people and our safety and security abroad.
Nope. Today, Ben-Gvir demolished another family's home in the Silwan community, e.g. after the Supreme Court denied the family's challenge. Another word. For years now, settlers have been aggressively pushing the ethnically cleansed Palestinians from Silwan, where Jewish housing units have quadrupled in the past decade or two. I mention this because I want to stress for my American comrades who mostly see the war that this happens every day. This is the peace the Zionists you talk to want. Yeah. Exactly. Dude, I have noticeably heard less chirpers. Have you guys noticed that, like, the more intense Israel gets and the more you see white women posting about, like, Rafah and shit, the less you see the fucking freaks before that would come in and chirp about JDAMs and shit? What happened? I don't think we banned all of them. They make enough fucking sock accounts.
Yeah, Jake Sullivan said recently that the United States would be watching very carefully the level of number of deaths, actually, and level of destruction.
No, I know what happened. It's because Biden stupidly said, we have a red line. Okay? If he had not said that, we wouldn't be at this position. Because Biden stupidly said there's a red line, okay, and then the ICC moved forward and the ICJ moved forward to enforce Biden's red line. Even though they immediately walked it back, by the way. Most Democrats that are just Biden dick riders that will literally say whatever the Democratic Party is saying is like allowed, turned around and were like, see, he's actually doing his very best. When in fact, he could be doing his very best by enforcing red lines, but he's not. But those guys were too stupid. And because they wanted to say, I told you so, see, Biden is trying to stop this war, not ethnic cleansing, war. They all ran to celebrate Biden's decisions too quickly. And every single time things like that happen, more people get the moral courage and also the permission to say what they truly fucking feel about Israel's ethnic cleansing campaign. And that's precisely the reason why you're seeing a lot of those people basically, backtrack from their prior positions. There were people, even Hamza, what do you call it? The fucking Palestinian living in Germany, the one that wrote the Newsweek article about how shitty the college students are for protesting for Palestine. Even he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over me when I said those things. I'm actually so fucking pro-Palestinian, you don't even know. So what happened? Even Brianna Wu, Brianna Wu doesn't give a fuck. There's no way. No, Brianna Wu's too fucking stupid. Brianna Wu is entirely... What is this? Brianna Wu is entirely too fucking stupid to understand when she's advocating for a lost cause. Guys, you're forgetting. She's so fucking stupid that she literally learned about Israel-Palestine after October 7. If you remember her earlier posts, like in the immediate aftermath of October, she was like, Hassan, I'm actually a fan of yours, so I don't really understand why you're saying certain things. Literally, early October, she was like, I don't really know how I feel about everything that's going on. Don't you think that it's like, don't you think what happened to Israel is like really fucked up? Now, Nowadays, she's literally like, everything in the Bible is real, historical fact. Moses was a real individual, historical figure who parted the Red Sea. And also, from the river to the sea, Israel was all you will see. Jews are the fucking chosen sons and daughters of God. And if you don't agree with that, and that they deserve fucking Israel and maybe even Lebanon and definitely Egypt too, you're an anti-Semite. Like, she went from literally being like, hold on, let me understand this Israel stuff. I don't really know, on like October 10, to, you know, talking like Pastor John Hagee up in this bitch. Brianna citing the Bible. Once again, I must apologize. Yeah, this is it. I must apologize for questioning our nation's foremost expert, but if you're going to do biblical literalism, you should probably stick to whatever is actually in the Bible instead of whatever this is. The original Jewish presence in the region dates to around 2000 BCE with the 12 tribes. About 700 years later, Egypt saw them as a threat. Then it came in and enslaved them. Moses led a slave revolt based with the help of divine intervention. Ugh, dude, you're like 50 years old. You're typing based in parentheses. Like, honestly, I can't read the rest of this. That's it. I'm out. I can't do that. I can't. I literally think that these people do not deserve the fucking... Oh yeah, here. This is how this dumb fuck was talking about it on October 28th. I said it's not complicated. The Israel-Hamas war is possibly the most complex geopolitical issue that we're facing. Respectfully, I think it's wildly complicated. I said, do you agree with the HRV and Amnesty that Israel is an apartheid state? If your answer is yes, then what's complex about the morality of apartheid? Hassan, I have nothing but respect for you genuinely. Remember, October 28th. The thing that makes this more complicated for me are the October 7th terrorist attacks that targeted slaughtered innocent civilians, Hamas's unwillingness to participate in the peace process of the entire history of the region being shaped by anti-Semitism and a relentless cycle of violence. If you look at my Twitter, I do not support the occupation. I'm not blind to where the path of war is taking us. Horror for everyone. Brianna, thank you for your kind words. However, I'm still confused. Do you agree with former Israeli ministers, Mossad members, virtually all human rights organizations and scholars that all say Israel's an apartheid state? I think it's so loaded a term that I'm uncomfortable with that specific language, but I certainly understand the sentiment and understand why you would use it. Directionally, the situation is clearly structural humanitarian abuse of Palestinians. I think we would agree that Netanyahu's policies over the last 16 years have wildly contributed to the desperation and horror. Which, by the way, she said the apartheid was a loaded term. She's not uncomfortable with, the death and destruction that befall on the Palestinian population. She's uncomfortable with the term calling what Israel does when it's not ethnically cleansing the Palestinians on the Gaza Strip an apartheid, which it is. Absolutely not, motherfuckers. Absolutely none of you believe you had a change of heart. You cheered this on every step of the way. This is yours. Own it. I stand here for months saying, let's have peace. It's possible to have peace with Israel. And then Netanyahu and Ben-Gvir and the goons spit in my face by killing more civilians in Rafah. That's what it feels like. I agree with this. I said at the beginning that invading Rafah would be a mistake of historic proportions and would make it difficult for people to stand with Israel. None of this is going to make anyone safer. Personally, I think the beheaded infant was the strongest argument, but I think that that infant was a human being, so who can say? The strongest argument for not supporting Rafah is caring about Israeli security. Yeah, she spent every day for the past 8 months hand-wringing about progressives in the left. She lost their fucking cushy job over at, like, Progressive Victory. She made me lose respect for anyone that has ever worked with her that I had a fucking ounce of respect for, by the way, because, like, they are so goddamn blind sometimes. I will not be naming any names, but maybe familial relations. It's, like, ridiculous, dude. It's, what are we doing? Like, can you not fucking see how dumb this person is? Like, are you insane? Like, how? I will question anyone. At this point, I will literally question any fucking human being that looks at this dumb fuck chirping for 8 months about everything that Israel has done, trying to do the worst possible job of defending it. If you are like, that's my political operative, like, yeah, you're destined to fucking lose, okay? Straight up. She said Houthis, man. She said Houthis, man. And now she's out here trying to do a fucking dumbass podcast with, like, what's that guy? The weirdest freak of all time. The ugliest freak of nature. The fucking race realist guy on Hananyanya. Yeah, exactly. That, by the way, is Hananyanya actually fucking Palestinian? Because, oh my God, bro. Palestinian white supremacist race realist Israel defender. Richard Hananya. She said the kafia was the kafaya. Yeah, I know. I mean, she's just so fucking stupid. Yeah, he is. I think he is a Palestinian. Literally a white supremacist, a white supremacist, America First dick rider who I believe is of Palestinian descent. It is so fucking crazy to me how you can be like a straight up Nazi. Anyway. Richard Hananyanya, she's trying to convince him trans people are people by showing him young trans women he'd want to fuck. It's so fucking disgusting. Yeah, these people deserve literally how fucking awful their lives are, okay? They deserve it. They have created an environment for themselves where they are destined for the fucking, destined for the pain and suffering that they experience on a daily fucking basis, okay? There is no way that they're having a good time. There's no shot. Let me tell you. Yeah, I mean, this is like, oh God. If you want more Hunter shavers, you should support access to puberty blockers. Sick. I've been a majority reporter subscriber one way or another since Bush. I stopped listening this year. I just can't. Her on Reddit 4 days ago. Yeah, she sucks. Hessa retweeted someone that called this evil seeking derangements. Oh, come on. That's fucked up. Oh. A Hananya classic. Let's say Jeffrey Epstein wants to have sex with a 14-year-old girl, and I will pay her $10 million. The money will go into a mutual fund that they will pay out when she's 21. The girl agrees, as do both her parents. Should this be allowed? And are you male or female? That's Richard Hananya. Seeking derangements as a trans woman, and Ben looks like Hananya if he looked handsome. I disagree with this sentiment. He's Palestinian Christian. Some of them go really hard, right, when they grow up in America. How would you know, Capri Sun Poppy? No, I'm just kidding. It is fucking nutty. I don't understand how you can be a fucking Palestinian Christian and be a white supremacist, dude. It's nuts. It's nuts. And he's pro-Israel, too. Yeah, also, this motherfucker is desperate, bro. He went on Tim Pool. Let's get back to this. Reporter girl State Department spokesperson, has Israel crossed the red lines that Biden set?
In Rafah specifically. Given the number of deaths and the level of destruction that we are seeing in Rafah, and today you have Israeli tanks that entered the zone, and you have already over 800,000, if not more, Palestinians who, fled the zone. Has Israel crossed the red lines that Biden has, that the president has given?
It is something that we can, when it comes to their military operations in Rafah, as I just said in response to Ellen's question, it's something that we continue to look at very closely. And as I just said, it so far is a different operation than we've seen in Khan Yunis and that we saw in Gaza City. But this is something we watch every day and something that we engage with the government of Israel about.
I think the reason why I don't hate I don't hate Matt Miller as much as I hate Kirby is because he's consistently fucking up. Like, Kirby fucks up too. But I think because he's not like a Fedayeen in the same way that Kerbals is, he just like ends up literally flubbing half the time because his job, like, this job is not easy, okay? Like, this level of evil is not fucking easy, okay? Straight up. If you remove morality from the equation, you have to understand, like, your job at the State Department as a spokesperson is to literally be like, Israel would never do this, and then Israel does it the next day, or sometimes while you're saying Israel would never do this, while simultaneously saying, we do this, fuck you, Biden, fuck you, America, we do this, and we do this with your weapons. Hamas, anti-Semitism, Hamas, October 7, like literally in the process. So you have to be real fucking a real rabid psychopath to be able to just like deal with that shit.
Every day, as we talk to them about what their plans are and what U.S. policy might be, and as we talk to them.
As a Lebo, I can see Christian Palestinians growing up abroad, going down a crazy path. Yeah, but that's different. Especially Lebanese Christians are very different than fucking Palestinian Christians, bro. Come on. Like, Palestinian Christians are still Arab. Lebanese Christians, on the other hand, half the time claim that they're not Arab. So there's like already a ethnic disagreement there to begin with. Like, many Lebanese Christians I know will claim that they're Phoenician and not Arab at all. Why do you do an anti-Semitic accent so much? Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break and you got fucking banned because you thought that that was a good enough bait. Okay? That's right. You just got clapped before I could be done reading your stupid ass bait, dude. God damn, the mods are fucking fast. Holy shit. That's right. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. And if you thought some fuck shit like that was going to work, you're out of your mind. I know a Lebanese Christian who likes to wear a cross while topping a twink in Florida. Oh, true. I wasn't even thinking about Austin, but Austin is too white. That's why he's always like, oh no, I'm Lebanese. I'm so Arab, actually. It's like very white behavior.
And he can.
I was in Wire's TikTok. Oh God, I don't even know what the fucking comments say.
About the need to minimize civilian harm.
What were you saying about the majority report earlier in relation to Brianna Wu? No, she just said she stopped. Bro, chill out. Who gives a fuck about Brianna Wu? We moved on. But if you do care that much, someone just basically said on her Reddit that 4 days ago, she said she stopped watching Majority Report after October 7 because she couldn't. She couldn't anymore. Even though she was a fan one way or another since the George W. Bush era, which is weird because she literally campaigned for George W. Bush. Okay? So I don't know why she became a Majority Report fan after GWB, considering that she fucking door knocked for him. So I don't know what. Yeah, she's literally 700 years old herself. So I don't know what the fuck's going on there. She's like not been around for a minute.
Harm and conduct their strikes in a way that minimizes civilian harm. And I know that the question is not just about the fire that broke out over the weekend that killed upwards of 40 individuals, and I know injured many more. But
I've seen this one
it's about
already.
everything, and we look at everything. But I do think it's important when you look at that strike to find out what the actual cause of the fire is. Israel has said that it might have been that there was a Hamas ammo dump near the area where they took the strike, which, as I said, they claim was 1.7 kilometers outside the area where they had told civilians to move. That's a very important factual question that needs to be answered when it comes to making these sort of assessments. So what we are pressing the government of Israel to do is to conduct an investigation, present those facts publicly, so we, along with the rest of the world, can make the kind of assessments that we need to be able to do.
Next guest this evening, Fiona Lally, is joining me here. And we're going to try and talk without losing our tempers about the problems.
No. I watched this. No. Nope. I'm skipping that. I will literally, I will have an aneurysm. What here?
Deep pockets.
What does that mean?
Well, they're very influential people. I mean, they control media.
I mean, I would call that an anti-Semitic remark.
What are you doing, bro? What is this? This is literally the Pakistan foreign minister from 2021. Like, what are we doing? Put me in a fucking rocket ship. I don't want to be on this planet anymore. That dude has been spamming this fucking video literally since this morning. You don't have to perma him. It's just so fucking strange. Why are you skipping it? Because while she is doing a phenomenal job against these fucking demons, I can't watch ugly ass British people, the ones that she's going against. I can't do that to myself. I don't want to do that to you. Like, it's just, they're too ugly. Okay? I'm sorry. They are so fucking ugly and so stupid. Like, the things that they say in this video will cause you to have an aneurysm, but I just don't want to hear fucking Baron Harkonnen with a British accent talk about how, like, this woman of color deserves to be berated and that if she doesn't like it, she must leave the country. Okay? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that from this fucking spawn of Satan. I don't want to hear that from a dude who looks like he was a victim of napalm attacks. I don't want to hear that from a dude who looks like he did so many unimaginable crimes in a past life that he was born into the shell to continue his suffering. I don't want to hear that from a dude who looks like he is a serial competitor pedophile. Okay? Like Olympic level pedophilia. I don't want to hear that. Don't like it. You know what a door is. He does. He looks like that. Yeah, by the way, we talked about this already, but only hours before Netanyahu decided to claim the strike was a mistake, the IDF edited the humanitarian zone again, and the only one they had unilaterally decided. Just so you know. And we talked about this yesterday. They just keep doing it over and over again. Why is it so hard to stick to one story?
Tents in that area. It is 1.8 kilometers away from where the safe zone in Al Mawasi is. And that's what Daniel Hagari made crystal clear. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't do this again. Why must you send me another fucking British demon? I just said I don't want to see an ugly ass British freak chirp at like a person of color, and you literally sent me another ugly ass British freak chirping at a person of color. The fuck are we doing here? Do we have no other versions of this? I'm sick and tired of looking at ugly man. It's crazy. You're like, no. Oh, you don't like this fucking twat? Well, let me tell you, mate. I got another one for you loaded up in my cannon. All right. It's time again. Look at this fucking toad. Look at this fucking potato. It's mental, innit? Anyway, speaking of fucking thumb-like cops, who some of which are good, Karim Khan. Now, this investigation that we will get to, and I don't know if there's a video of this yet, shows that Israel engaged in a covert war on the International Criminal Court. Top Israeli government and security officials have overseen a 9-year surveillance operation targeting the ICC and a Palestinian rights groups to try to thwart a war crimes probe, a joint investigation reveals. This was a joint investigation in partnership with Local Call, and also The Guardian wrote a follow-up piece to this. It focuses on Yossi Cohen, the former head of the Mossad, an insanely quickly rising figure of the Israeli center-right, and his attempts to threaten the previous prosecutor Bensouda. Remember, the Trump administration put sanctions on Bensouda, the Gambian prosecutor, that the American media considered controversial. Why was she considered controversial? Why did she withstand sanctions directly as a person by the American government? Oh, that's right, because she wanted to investigate back in 2021 war crimes that Israel had conducted. War crimes that Israel had engaged in, and also beyond those war crimes that Israel may have been engaging in and continues to engage in, the potential for an independent investigation into the apartheid as well. So, they found out, Local Call and 972 Magazine, in a collaborative effort with The Guardian, found out that this multi-agency operation, which dates back to 2015, has seen Israel's intelligence community routinely surveil the court's current chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, his predecessor Fatou Bensouda, and dozens of other ICC and UN officials. One thing that they fucking said, by the way, here it is. Guardian says Mossad chief menaced ICC prosecutor, said, "You should help us and let us take care of you. You don't want to be getting into things that could compromise your security or that of your family." That is probably the most powerful line in the entire investigation. But just remember, Israel has a right to defend itself against Karim Bensouda and Karim Khan, and also Bensouda as well. and they're Hamas and they're anti-Semitic. And if you think that that is unconscionable, if you think that that is completely unacceptable, you might also be what? Israeli spying on ICC prosecutor. She's really just another. Oh, yeah. 5 sources familiar with Israel's activities said it routinely spied phone calls made by Bensouda and her staff with Palestinians, blocked by Israel from accessing Gaza and the West Bank, including East Jerusalem. The ICC was forced to conduct much of its research by telephone, which made it more susceptible to surveillance. Thanks to their comprehensive access to Palestinian telecoms infrastructure, the sources said, intelligence operatives could capture the calls without installing spyware on the ICC's officials' devices. If Fatou Bensouda spoke to any person in the West Bank or Gaza, then that phone call would enter intercept systems. One source said, another said, there was no hesitation internally over spying on the prosecutor, adding, with Bensouda, she's black and African, so who cares? Oh, God. Gross. Anyway, getting back to the article. Israeli intelligence also monitored materials of the Palestinian Authority submitted to the prosecutor's office and surveilled employees of 4 Palestinian human rights organizations whose submissions are central to the probe. According to sources, the covert operation mobilized the highest branches of the Israel government, the intelligence community, and both the civilian and military legal systems in order to derail the probe. The intelligence information obtained via surveillance is passed on to a secret team of top Israeli government lawyers and diplomats who traveled to The Hague for confidential meetings with the ICC officials in an attempt to feed the chief prosecutor information that would make her doubt the basis of her right to be dealing with this question. The intelligence was also used by the Israeli military to retroactively open investigations into incidents that were of interest to the ICC to try to prove that Israel's legal system is capable of holding its own account. Additionally, as The Guardian reported earlier today, the Mossad, Israel's foreign intelligence agency, ran its own parallel operation, which sought out compromising information on Bensouda and her family members in an apparent attempt to sabotage the ICC's investigation. The agency's former head, Yossi Cohen, personally attempted. The fuck? Robo Piglet, thank you for the 5-tier and gift of subs. What the fuck's going on with my chat? It's like breaking. Yossi Cohen personally attempted to enlist Bensouda and manipulate her into complying with Israel's wishes, according to the source familiar with his activities, causing the then prosecutor to fear for her personal safety. Our investigation draws on interviews with more than 24 current and former Israeli intelligence officers and government officials. The prime minister has a good reason to be concerned. Last week, Khan announced that his office is seeking arrest warrants for Netanyahu and defense minister. Literally behaving... Well, I mean, I guess like behaving like the CIA. I was going to say literally behaving like the mob, but like, you know, this is CIA behavior. I want to, fuck. Is there like a open reading mode? No, I just want like TTS. I want to like some kind of fucking valid TTS. I need like a reader. TTS tool. Is there a free one? Fuck, I have to pee. Fuck! Hold on, here, just watch this fucking TikTok while I go pee.
Any candidates this year?
No, not at all. I've been a big advocate of the uncommitted voting campaign as well against Joe Biden in the Democratic primaries. I'm an advocate of full-blown pressure on every aspect. Right? I think that you have to demonstrate in the streets. I think that you have to demand divestment from your college campuses. You have to boycott certain products as long as it's like organized. I'm not like some TikTok stuff, but like, you know, an organized boycott with a clear-cut demand. Call your congresspersons. And then I think the tip of that spear at the end of it is also to say, like, I am not going to vote for you unless you fix this. Before Israel-Palestine, before October 7, there were plenty of moments where I would tell my audience, and a lot of the initiatives that the Biden White House has taken on had made this administration probably one of the most pro-labor administrations in contemporary American history.
Yes.
If I'm young, I don't see anyone right now that is captivating me, that is like causing me to go out and vote.
I want to bring it back to voting, though. We're 5 months out. There are two choices. Is Trump better than Biden?
No, absolutely not. I'm always going to be honest. No, I don't think that Trump would be better on Israel-Palestine.
So you're not going to be voting for Biden?
I don't know. I don't know if I'll be voting for Biden. I'll be honest, but I won't tell you not to. Like, do your thing. The voting uncommitted campaign, I think, is a good way to openly stress the Democratic Party, to like get them to listen when you have marginal victories in key states.
So fucking hot. Look at my goddamn TikTok playlist right now. Oh my God. I saw this. I saw the portrayed himself as a black man thing. Chrome has TTS. I wonder if this is going to fuck me up. It's added. Let's see if it fucks this up. I can't wait for this to not work. You know what I mean?
But the ICC case has been a decade in the making, inching forward amid rising alarm among Israeli officials at the possibility of arrest warrants, which would prevent those accused from traveling to any of the court's 124 member states for fear of arrest. It is the specter of prosecutions in The Hague that one former Israeli intelligence official said had led the entire military and political establishment to regard the counteroffensive against the ICC as a war that had to be waged, and one that Israel needed to be defended against. It was described in military terms. That war commenced in January 2015, when it was confirmed that Palestine would join the court after it was recognized as a state by the UN General Assembly. Its accession was condemned by Israeli officials as a form of diplomatic terrorism. One former defense official familiar with Israel's counter-ICC effort said joining the court had been perceived as the crossing of a red line and perhaps the most...
Let's try it again. This is going to be better for the future.
One former defense official familiar with Israel's counter-ICC efforts said joining the court had been perceived as the crossing of a red line, and perhaps the most aggressive diplomatic move taken by the Palestinian Authority, which governs the West Bank. To be recognized as a state in the UN is nice, they added. But the ICC is a mechanism with teeth. For Fatou Bensouda, a respected Gambian lawyer who was elected the ICC's chief prosecutor in 2012, the accession of Palestine to the court brought with it a momentous decision. Under the Rome Statute, the treaty that established the court, the ICC can exercise its jurisdiction only over crimes within member states or by nationals of those states. Israel, like the US, Russia and China, is not a member. After Palestine's acceptance as an ICC member, any alleged war crimes, committed by those of any nationality, in occupied Palestinian territories now fell under Bensouda's jurisdiction. On the 16th of January 2015, within weeks of Palestine joining, Bensouda opened a preliminary examination into what in the legalese of the court was called the situation in Palestine. The following month, two men who had managed to obtain the prosecutor's private address turned up at her home in The Hague. Sources familiar with the incident said the men declined to identify themselves when they arrived, but said they wanted to hand-deliver a letter to Bensouda on behalf.
If you don't shut the fuck up about the voice and how you don't like it, I'm just going to end the broadcast.
Damn, this guy's good.